Hello everyone, I am BowserJrXD. Welcome to the Solidarity Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, the final race of the MotoGP season in 2024. After the flooding in Valencia making the track completely unusable and the region devastated, the race was moved to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and the race renamed to the Solidarity Grand Prix to raise money for the ravaged region. Jorge Martin enters this final race of the season with a 19-point lead over Pecco Bagnaia. He needs to finish 9th or better to clinch. Bagnaia, if he even wants a chance, must finish 2nd or higher. Bagnaia will start on pole. Jorge Martin will start in 4th. The race itself will be 24 laps on the 2.894 mile / 4.657 kilometer track. So race distance of just under 70 miles or just under 112 kilometers. Now for the starting lineup for today's race. Starting 23rd, driving the number 6, riding the number 6 Honda RC213V for the HRC test team. 34 years old from Augsburg, Germany, Stefan Bradl, making his 6th start of the season. Starting 22nd, driving the number 51, Desmo Sedici GP23, Ducati Desmo Sedici GP23 for Pertamina Enduro VR46 racing team. 38 years old from San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy, Michel Pirro, making his first start of the year in the final race of the season, being the oldest driver in the field. Starting 21st, driving the number 37, KTM RC16 for Red Bull Gas Tech 3. 27 years old from Madrid, Spain, Augusto Fernandez, 20th in points. Starting 20th, driving the number 30, Honda RC213V for Idemitsu Honda LCR. 32 years old from Chiba, Spain, Takaki Nakagami, 19th in points. Also, both Nakagami and Fernandez will not be racing in the series next year, at least not full time. Starting 19th, driving the number 43, KTM RC16 for Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. 29 years old from Townsville, Australia, Jack Miller, 14th in points. Starting 18th, driving the number 33, KTM RC16 for Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. 29 years old from Potchefstroom, South Africa, Brad Binder, 6th in points. Starting 17th, driving the number 25, Aprilia RS, riding the number 25, Aprilia GP20 RSG, Starting 17th, riding the number 25, Aprilia RSGP23 for Trackhouse Racing. 24 years old from Madrid, Spain, Raul Fernandez, 16th in points. There we go. Starting 16th, riding the number 10, Honda RC213V for Repsol Honda. 27 years old from Urbino, Italy, Luca Marini, 22nd in points. Starting 15th, driving the number 42, Yamaha YZR M1 for Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team. 28 years old from Barcelona, Spain, Alex Rins. Starting 13th, driving the number 36, Honda RC213V for Repsol Honda. 29 years old from Almada, Portugal, Miguel Oliveira. Wait, what the heck? I skipped 14th place. This is what happens when you have to race at 8 in the morning. Starting 14th, driving the number 88, Aprilia RSGP24 for Trackhouse Racing. 29 years old from Almada, Portugal, Miguel Oliveira, the winner at Catalunya in 2021. Starting 13th, riding the number 36 Honda RC213V for Repsol Honda. 27 years old from Palma, Spain, Joan Mir, 21st in points. Oliveira's 15th in points. Starting 12th, driving the number 5 Honda RC213V for Castrol Honda LCR. 34 years old from Caen, France, Johan Zarco, 17th in points. And starting 11th, driving the number 73, Ducati Desmo Sedici GP23 for Gresini Racing MotoGP. 28 years old from Cervera, Spain, Alex Marquez, 10th in points. Now for the top 10. Starting 10th, Driving the number 20, Yamaha YZR M1 for Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team. 25 years old from Nice, France, Fabio Quartararo, who won at Catalunya in 2020 and 2022. And is 13th in points. Starting 9th, driving the number 72, riding the number 72, Ducati Desmos Adichie GP23 for Grassini Racing MotoGP, for Pertamina Enduro VR46 Racing Team. 26 years old from Rimini, Italy, Marco Bezzecchi, 12th in points. Starting 8th, driving the number 23, Ducati Desmos Adichie GP24 for Ducati Lenovo Team. 26 years old from Rimini, Italy, Enea Bastianini, 3rd in points. Starting 7th, riding the number 12, Aprilia RSGP24 for Aprilia Racing. 29 years old from Figueres, Spain, Maverick Vinales, 7th in points. Starting 6th, driving the number 31, KTM RC16 for Red Bull Gas Tech 3. 20 years old from Mazarón, Spain, Pedro Acosta. 5th in points, the only rookie in the field, and the youngest in the field. Starting 5th, driving the number 21, riding the number 21, Ducati Desmos Adichie GP24 for Prima Racing. 29 years old from Rome, Italy, Franco Morbidelli, 9th in points. Starting 4th, riding the number 89, Ducati Desmos Adichie GP24 for Prima Racing. 26 years old from Madrid, Spain, Jorge Martin, the points leader. Now for the front row. Starting 3rd, riding the number 93, Ducati Desmos Adichie GP23 for Grassini Racing MotoGP. 31 years old from Chiveta, Spain, Marc Marquez. 4th in points, and the winner at Catalunya in 2014 and 2019. Starting 2nd, riding the number 41, RSGP24 for Aprilia Racing. 35 years old from Granollers, Spain, Aleix Espargaro. 11th in points, and the winner at Catalunya in 2023. He's also retiring after this race, giving him the final race in his homeland. And on the pole, riding the number 1, Ducati Desmos Adichie GP24 for Ducati Lenovo Team, with a pole time of 1 minute 38.641 seconds and an average speed of 105.619 miles per hour. 27 years old from Turin, Italy, the 2nd in points, and the winner at Catalunya in the spring in the Catalan Grand Prix, Francesco Bagnaia. So that is your starting lineup for today's Solidarity Grand Prix. I'll be right back. All right. We good. I got it. I missed the... They changed the intro because now it's just down to 2 riders. One much more favored than the other, but anything could happen in a championship race. Bagnaia searching for his 3rd straight title. Jorge Martin looking to avenge the loss from last year. Likely the last time these two will do battle, considering Jorge Martin is heading to Aprilia, all in on a less significant note.
standing on the brink of his first MotoGP title. He has lit up this season.
The Prima team is switching to Yamaha in the off-season. I don't know how smart of a move that was, though.
Pecco Bagnaia has made his mistakes, but he has been the definition of Brazilian.
All right, warm-up lap.
Back into contention with 10 GP wins to Martin's 3. Today, 19 points separate them.
Being in a European track, all the corners have names, so I'll try to describe it. They go into the first chicane, turns 1 and 2. Turn 1 being the Elf corner, and the left-hander in 2 being the Renault corner.
Over the years caused so many problems for the riders. It's a tricky section, real technical first part of the track. We normally see contact.
Or maybe it's the sweeping right-hander that's Renault.
It'll be a nerve-wracking
Turn 4 is almost 180 degrees, a sweeping 180-degree turn called Repsol. Obviously after the after the sponsor. Then it's a sharp left-hander, the seat turn, and then another left-hander, another 90-degree left-hander into worse. Why are so many of these turns named after sponsors? Next is a big sweeping right-hander called Kamsa corner, and into the Nissan. I don't know if that's a chicane or a kink.
History awaiting the third and final match point for Martin. What do you reckon, Neil? Will he seize his destiny?
Almost a hairpin turn into La Caxia. Turn 11.
What has been an unmissable saga this year.
Sweeping right-hander at the Banque de Sabadell. And then the final turns into the into turn 14, New Holland.
Incredibly shocked if there's a mistake. I feel like the only way it can go.
And I am not going to use those corner names because I am not super comfortable with them.
We're racing for Valencia this weekend. Should have been there, but we are racing in a solidarity.
All you need to know is it's a 14.
9 months of pure racing drama.
It's a 14-turn circuit, and it'll be 24 laps today.
24 laps to crown our champ. Will it be a new name on the Champions Tower in Jorge Martin, or will it be the three-peat to Pecco Bagnaia? The engine's about to come to life one final time. The anticipation building as the sun sets on an unforgettable season. It is time to settle the score. Here we go then. The decider, the rematch.
Lights on, lights off. We're racing at Catalunya. Good start for Jorge Martin, already up to second place from outside the front row. He ducks to the inside on Bagnaia, trying to take the early lead. Can't get there, though. He holds on to second place, right behind number 1 Ducati. We got someone taking a long lap penalty, it looks like the start. Not sure who that was. Marc Marquez in third, behind Jorge Martin. Fourth place, I want to say that's Bastianini, who also had a really good start. I think he started 8th. Acosta, the rookie, having had a fantastic season, up to 5th, well, in 5th. Alicia Spagro, who started in the second, has gone back to 6th now.
Thankfully, they're all through.
Thank goodness Alicia Spagro got through. A little moment for Bastianini on exit from turn 5. So, as it settles down on this opening lap, it's Bagnaia from Martin.
Jorge Martin has struggled this weekend. Thankfully, his margin of error is rather high considering where he needs to finish. Although I wouldn't settle for 9th place.
Okay, at this moment in time. A little bit wider for Jorge Martin, but caution on this opening lap. It's a solid start from the dueling duo at the front of this one. The question now with Bagnaia up front is how does he play it? Earlier this weekend, he said he was willing to back up. Davide Tard obviously seemed to say that wasn't an option here today. Now we're going to find out, Neil.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll find out the truth. Davide, he was adamant. He was like, no, he's just going to do his own race. He's not going to try.
Marc Marquez is looking like he's going to try and attempt to pass.
The fact is, though, there are other riders
Ooh, side by side.
with difficult conditions and down towards turn 1.
Martin seizes the spot.
Marquez, who's had a terrible weekend, all ends up. He goes through on Jorge Martin. How does that make Martin feel right now, though? Because he knows now he's got Bastianini behind.
Yeah, I don't think we're panicking at this point. I think Martin will be Right, it's like I've got one of the danger men in front of me now with Marc Marquez. He'll know he'll have Bastianini behind him. There's 3 or 4 of the riders.
The good news is that his teammate, Franco Morbidelli, as we start on the second lap now, is ahead of the position that Martin would need to fall back to lose. So Morbidelli will probably not put up a fight to try and pass Martin.
And we look back from Jorge Martin's back to Enea Bastianini, who showed yesterday, Neil, he will get quicker as this race goes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bastianini
He's so
is,
good on tyres. This track's
yeah,
really aggressive.
he ages well over the course of the race, Bastianini.
Time's dropped by 2 seconds a lap. It's going to be the same today.
Oh, I thought Bastianini was going to go for the lunge down into turn 10. There were some lunges yesterday. That's tight as well on the exit through the opening corner of turn 11, back onto the right-hand side of the tyres for turn 12 now. The interesting thing is that Jorge Martin has gone with the medium rear tyre compared to Bagnaia, Marquez and Bastianini with that soft rear. Will that tell a tale later in the race?
Yeah, he's hoping, obviously, and that's why I'm pleased now. He's there hanging in as the race goes on. Certainly after half race distance, the medium tyres should be better.
Marquez is sticking with Bagnaia really well as we enter the third lap.
Top 8 pace. So it's incredible. He said he found something this morning. They made a big change to that Ducati, and he looks really comfortable sat in second.
Looks so much better than he has at any moment this weekend, and that's been the story this season. Finding things out on Sunday morning warm-ups, really, to be honest. It comes up top left. He says, Bagnaia crash. My heart leapt for a moment then. That is a wrong graphic.
What happened? I saw that for a moment. My heart nearly stopped. Well, my heart nearly stopped. It said Bagnaia had wrecked.
The lap times aren't fast at all, and
That's a bad snafu.
Quite a big group. We're not seeing it stretched out. Oh, that's a late move on Bastianini.
Espargaro trying to work his way back to the front. He passes Enea Bastianini.
He is now running a tail gunner for Jorge Martin. Yeah, pretty certain about that.
Yeah, if you want to watch how to back a race up, Aleix Espargaro is now going to attempt it from 4th place.
What we have found, it's not as easy to do that on an Aprilia compared to a Ducati.
No, you need the power of a Ducati, point and squirt. Bastianini's straight back. And Aleix will try and get back underneath him. Oh, it's so difficult. Those moves are difficult because the rider can't see the rider on the inside. It is a real trick over the modern day riding style.
All the while, Pedro Acosta is there sitting, thinking, before the start of this race, he'll have fancied his chances of being on the podium here. And he's there in 6th place after he had an early bath yesterday, losing his front fairing on that opening lap. It's Bagnaia across the line, Neil. Times 140.
Fastest lap to Bagnaia, 140 for 148. Lap 4.
Behind where we were in May.
Exactly, yeah. This is tyre management, I'd say. There's a bit of that going on. And also, I don't think... Why would you, if you're Bagnaia now, just...
Alex Marquez going to make a move on Morbidelli. That'd be for 7th. All right, let's update the scoring pylon for the first time.
One thing we have learned about Pecco Bagnaia, Neil, over the last 4 or 5 seasons is he is a thinking man's rider, isn't he? And he's really good at riding to his pitboard, in fact.
He is. He's an intelligent rider. He's similar to, we talked about David Alonso in Moto3. He's able to calculate what's going on in the race. Oh, this is a lame move here. Frankie Morbidelli there, just threw it up the inside.
Alex Marquez and Brad Binder. No, Binder did not simply by Franco Morbidelli.
Yeah, I think what happened, that Marquez got through and pushed him wide, and Binder also came through, and Morbidelli thought, oh yeah, I'm not losing 2 spots there. He's got the hard rear tyre, actually. Lots of the riders further down
the hard rear.
With that hard rear tyre.
So, Prima Premax opted for harder rear tyres compared to the rest of the field.
Bastianini up the inside.
He's got to go wide.
Yeah, because he turns in
Bastianini backed by Aleix Espargaro.
Brilliantly, hasn't he? And there's no way back through for Aleix Espargaro, but what Aleix knows is that's going to cost Bastianini a little bit of rubber and a bit wider then as he takes a later apex through turn 12.
So far, so good for Jorge Martin. This is your dream scenario. You sat there in 3rd place. You can see the 2 riders in front. Forget about them. They can clear off. He'll be watching his pitboard, and when he sees, or when he saw in the previous lap, Aleix behind him, that looked giving him some comfort.
Fastest lap, 140.088 by Marc Marquez. Time for lap 5.
Remind you, he's battling for 3rd place in the championship as again
Aleix Espargaro back by Enea Bastianini.
And back in front he goes.
That's Aleix been a very, very good friend to Jorge Martin. Because every time you pull a move like that on someone, it costs you and the rider you've just passed.
I mean, he's basically taking his bike next year, considering the swaps that are happening. So
that's where Pecco Bagnaia soon will need to just have a look at things, won't he? We will remind you that when we came here back in May, I know it was the sprint race, but he crashed out on the last lap of the race. Just from a moment's lapse, he says he had a 2-second lead, and he was just easing off. Yep. And just that little moment in 30-degree temperatures back in May cost him.
Yeah, but what's changed this year massively is Michelin brought a new rear slick, and it offered so much more grip, and it basically threw the balance of the tyres off. What we found out this year, and Francesco Bagnaia is going to lose this World Championship due to 3 crashes that he had whilst he openly admits he'd rolled off. He wasn't on the limit. If you roll off, what happens is basically what happens is the engine braking strategy and the grip from the rear pushes the front.
He hasn't lost it yet. We've got 19 laps to go. It's going to be 18 as we start this.
All of a sudden you block the front and your face planted.
So 20 to go, 19 as we start lap 6.
Not at this point in the race, he's still pushing hard, but as the race goes on, he might just back off a fraction, and that could catch him out.
Not at the moment, though. Personal best lap for
Marquez trying to move the inside. No.
And Aleix Espargaro also a personal best lap.
Depth perception is hard.
Medium rear tyres, which will be a bit of encouragement for them. Marc Marquez.
No, lap 6.
In second spot behind Bagnaia, matching Bagnaia for pace in these early stages.
So a top 9 finish, and Martin is world champion. If we look downwards, so where's 9th? 9th place is
Morbid is Binder.
He's 1.4.
It's a battle like that right back there, though, right now between Binder and Morbidelli.
It's not crazy to think if Martin starts to panic, starts to think about the world championship.
Well, maybe it's better to look at 10th then, which is Marco Bezzecchi, because obviously if he is 10th, and then Bagnaia wins, he isn't champion. But Bezzecchi is only a 10th behind Binder.
Exactly.
So he's in it still.
Exactly. That group is a group of 10 if you look in the back of shot.
It's got to be a crash is the only thing that could cost Jorge Martin at this moment.
It's a big gaggle
is
back there.
The title is not sealed until the checkered flag drops, and we have still got another half an hour of racing to go. Still, Marc Marquez tracking Pecco Bagnaia.
I'm smiling to myself. How many times this year has Marc Marquez, from nowhere, pulled out a result? Like, I promise, if you'd watched free practice 1, he was about 15. Free practice 2, nowhere. It's just been he did 1 lap in qualifying. He got a toe, didn't he, off Bagnaia?
Which was interesting.
Yeah, Bagnaia allowed it. Exactly. Managed to get it on the front row, but like yesterday, he was nowhere. So yeah, incredible. I'll tell you what, Frankie Carcetti's done a really good job in that Gresini garage.
Alex Marquez has had pace all weekend as well.
Marquez going to go by Pedro Acosta. He does.
Like Bastianini, Marquez and Bagnaia up in front, and he comes through on Pedro Acosta now.
I tell you what, it's very rare. You've got softs, mediums and hards in the rear in this race. All I'm going to say by that is someone's got it wrong. Because they're not all going to work, are they? And this is a real difficult track on tyres.
Yeah, and that's all down to lower temperatures. Now, you went out there, we saw your lap, and I loved it. You said on Thursday, you said then, low temperature, I thought it was going to be gripping.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It's defied logic this weekend.
I was so confused. I was really looking forward to my lap. The last few laps I've done have been in Malaysia, in Thailand, hot, greasy
lap 7
really good, nice, fresh Barcelona. It felt terrible riding round. No grip at all, no side grip, and that's what the riders have complained about all weekend.
Little step onto the green paint there for Pecco Bagnaia. Not a mistake to the magnitude of the ones that he's been making this season, but just getting it slightly wrong out of turn 9. Aleix Espargaro.
Yellow flag in sectors 3 and 4.
Distance between himself and his old pal.
Joan Mir has wrecked out of the race.
It's not Joan Mir, is it?
It's about time. It's mere time.
Is it something like 70% of races he's crashed out this year?
Yeah, it will be. And it'll be, I mean, if you look at last year as well, it'll be 70% last year. It's been incredible for the 2020 MotoGP World Champion. I mean, it's you can't make it up. Just
Lap 8 now.
get on with that Honda at all.
That's a mistake from Bastianini there. Now he's got to
Bastianini
lose a second
has
here.
to go
Has
wide.
his path
He goes back
all the way through,
to
and he's got to lose a
behind
second. We'll keep an eye on
Alex
it.
Marquez.
So when he came across the line, what was the gap? It was 0.4 to Espargaro, so he needs to have about 1.4 to Espargaro through the next split, as now Frankie Morbidelli.
Morbidelli by.
That's one of those, though, with that soft rear tyre. One of the problems this year is if you've got the soft rear tyre in and you're braking into places like that, just pushes your front. And Bastianini did the right thing and picked it up. I've got a feeling he might have lost his 1.3 seconds more than enough. Yes, he has. So Bastianini will be okay. Comes straight back at Morbidelli.
Yeah, he's lost the time. I don't think he gave up enough time rejoining the track, but luckily for him, he's been beaten up since. That's what you're trying to say, but he's been beaten up since, and actually organically he's ended up losing that time.
Yeah, Bastianini back by Morbidelli.
Seconds. At the front, Bagnaia not showing signs of backing them up just yet. No. When do they start to say, you know, mapping 8? When do they start to put something on his dashboard?
I'd have to say by now, with what I'm seeing, he isn't going to. Davide Tarnozzi said that is not how he wants to win this championship. He's fair. I mean, and that's he is.
It's okay, isn't it?
But I'll tell you what, you play all the cards you've got. If you're going to lose a world championship, why wouldn't you give it a go back in the field up? See if you can. See if we can create a big group.
Well, it's not happening now. If you look behind,
it's not.
Top 10 is starting to splinter a bit. Morbidelli trying to get back around on the outside of Bastianini, but can't get there.
Half a second a lap. Exactly. And you can do that really easy. How do you do it? Well, I'll tell you what. Into turn 5. You break deep into turn 5. I'll tell you what, these two were proper scrap, aren't they?
Ooh.
He's got the box seat, and he gets the drive.
Bastianini didn't have a good turn. That got Morbidelli by.
Into the corner, and then you just wait that little bit to accelerate. Everybody nearly runs into the back of you, then you accelerate away. Stop. Brake late down into turn 5.
Binder trying to get around.
It's quite easy to lose half a second a lap. And not allow anyone to pass you.
Trying to get around that Bastianini.
Marc Marquez, I'm just looking top left of the picture as this good old battle goes on between Morbidelli and Bastianini for 7th place. Marc Marquez, again, I'm going to surmise and put myself in his position. Waits here, and if he wants to win this race, waits to see if Martin's still in it with a lap or two to go, he can make his move and try and win it if he's got the pace to.
Yeah, and Mark said at the start of the weekend, he's in the battle for 3rd in the championship. Is that a concern? Is that something you're going to think about whilst you're riding? And he was almost
on the 9th lap now.
Riding to finish 3rd in the world is like, no, I don't care about that. Yeah, he just wants to focus on trying to win the race. And he came out with a line. Can you remember who finished 3rd in the world? And he named a few years. No one cares who finished 3rd in the world. Don't get me wrong, some of the other riders do feel different about that because they don't have 100 million sat in the bank account. But
or 8 world championships.
Exactly.
Down into turn 1 once again. Not at the halfway point of this race. I will keep reminding you. Jorge Martin's pace at 10th or so slower than these guys. He's keeping a good pace. That's the important thing. Bagnaia's lap times have dropped by 2 or 3 tenths.
Yeah, they have. But I mean, the lap times are slow, aren't they?
Yeah.
But it is the cold conditions, this track. That the only way I can describe it, imagine someone's got a buffer.
Bastianini shortcut at turn 2. No further action because time lost in the off the road.
Just that bit wide there.
I thought it was really wide, actually. So the track surface, imagine someone's had a buffer, a grinder, and they've ground all the sharp edges of the track away. It's like a billiard table smooth tarmac. So there's no bite, there's no grip. We've come here, it's cold. There was a car race here last weekend. I don't think that's helped. It seemed really dirty. Obviously, we know that this track's been a replacement for Valencia. They probably haven't had time to fully prep it for the bike. So that's why we're seeing strange lap times.
Add to that the conditions, which are standard for this time of year, but much cooler than when we habitually come here to Barcelona, which is in May, June. Even when we came in September last year, it was very, very hot. The gap between Marc Marquez and Jorge Martin remaining fairly steady there. 1.2 seconds, actually just closed by a tenth on that lap. A little bit of debris on the front straight there that someone clipped. You know, something like that. That's all it takes, doesn't it? You know, a loose bit of fairing, clip of a curb, anything.
Yeah, anything could happen. You could end up accidentally leaning on a red button whilst you're watching the race. Anything could happen right now and could create an issue for someone's motorcycle.
You old cynic. Hey, I have to say, we mentioned it earlier in warm-up, myself and Michael Laverty, you have to give Ducati credit for letting them race, don't you?
Absolutely.
I know it's all very well, and Davide Tarnozzi can say, Ducati's won the championship, that's what it says in the record books, but you could completely understand, I think I could anyway, most people who work in motorsport could understand them giving subpar material to Jorge Martin.
Yeah, and they have done anything but that. It's been incredible. They've given Martin the tools to do the job, and he's done it.
It would have been a different story had they been battling a Honda rider. They'd have corralled, wouldn't they, around their world champion. But no, they've let them get on with it. I remind you, it wasn't too long ago, again, Aleix Espargaro and Alex Marquez doing battle here, and Aleix is not going to let Marquez come through.
Move side by side.
You can't pass
Espargaro holds off.
No, that's true. That's the Aprilia's strong point. Those fast corners. I've got a feeling Alex is going to set this one down the straight.
We're going to start lap 12.
Might be looking for another sibling podium here again, like we got earlier in the year back at Sachsenring, was it? Or was it in, trying to remember where was it they both got onto the podium earlier this year? They had that big party. It was in Sachsenring, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, let's not forget, it wasn't too long ago in this championship. Independent team riders didn't win races.
Third was,
Tony
Alex
Elias.
Marquez.
And then how long did we wait? Was it 12 years before we got another? You know, Cal Crutchlow started winning, and that was when the game changed. But now we've got an independent team rider winning a championship.
Incredible.
You speak to people from 25 or more years ago, unheard of.
Yeah, there were huge gaps. The factory teams had such an advantage. And it's not even 25 years ago. If you look 15 years ago, the factory teams had a huge advantage. 10 years ago, still, it was a huge advantage. It's impressive what Dorna have done. It's also impressive what the manufacturers have done, producing more bikes. People criticise Ducati for producing 8 bikes that are competitive. They've just created a good motorcycle.
And 2 of them are old spec. Look, Rossini Racing MotoGP team and Pertamina Enduro VR46. They've got old Ducatis. And look at what Marc Marquez can do in the old spec. God knows how good it'll be when he's teammates with Bagnaia in the Desmos DG GP25.
That's part and parcel of the game, and so yeah, you might have to give up aero, might have to give up ride-out devices, but that's how you get concessions. That's how you allow Honda and Yamaha to start making steps forward. It's a political game, unfortunately, when you're dealing with the budgets of tens of millions of dollars and euros that these teams are putting into racing.
I tell you what's quite interesting. I'm just looking down
Lap
the field,
13, we're halfway through.
All weekend, the Hondas have been fast, really impressive. Nakagami topped a session. Zarco's been right up there in sessions, inside the top 5. But in race trim, it's still an eternity away. They've made steps, of course, and I guess they are baby steps. But you look at Zarco is the top Honda, and he's in 15th place. He's 13 seconds down after how many laps? 12 laps.
So this is lap 13, second lap.
Yeah, second lap.
And we talk about this pace not being that hot. On board with Marc Marquez, just had a couple of laps where maybe just getting a little bit of cooler air onto his front tyre. He has been close in behind Bagnaia. Just regrouping. Jorge Martin maintaining the pace. He was 2 or 3 tenths slower than these two on that previous lap.
If you could have described a dream race for Martin, this is what's happened. He got off the start clean, dropped into 3rd place, and then he's ended up in no man's land. He can just focus on himself, be aware of what lap times he's doing. Don't back off too much. Make sure you keep that the pressure on the front tyre, but he can ride relaxed, stay focused, count down the laps. 11 laps to go. It's going to be a long 11 laps still, because he'll also be able to see that Bagnaia is leading. So he knows if he does make a mistake, he has lost the championship. So even though he's in the right position on the track, I'm sure his heart rate's still beating away.
He's been so cool this year. It's this kind of ride that has won him the title. The consistent ride, the accepting your fate on occasion. You don't feel that in Bagnaia's case it's been accepting fate. The ones that stick out for me in Bagnaia's season are the crashes in Aragon and in Portimao. Not battling necessarily for victories, battling for thirds. I think it was in Aragon, fourth in Portimao, battling with the Marquez brothers. And in that instance, that's where you needed the Jorge Martin mentality, but Bagnaia would not have it on those two incidents.
No, and I've got mixed feelings about that from Bagnaia's side. Part of me totally respects him because he was really aggressive on both occasions. Unfortunately, on both occasions, he ended up scoring no points. So it's like, look, you don't want to be bullied on the track. You've got to show him who's the boss, but also you have to know who you're fighting with, and you have to pick your battles. You know if you're going to go head-to-head with Marc Marquez, and you both go for the same piece of tarmac, what we learned over the 15 years of Marquez's career, he isn't going to roll the throttle. So you both either going to go down, or you roll off and try and allow a bit of room. So you're right, though, that is what's going to cost him the world title.
Yeah, it's 10 points in the end. You know, that one of those incidents would give you those
10 to go,
10
lap
points
15.
right there. I know it's buts and maybes, and it's you know, immaterial at this stage.
Yes,
But
about
it's
half a
those
second,
kinds of
or
decisions
6
that
tenths.
Jorge Martin has polished out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's used his head as Jorge Martin.
Nails being bitten down in the Ducati garage. They were resigned to their fate, it sounded like this morning. But Pecco Bagnaia showing why he is a back-to-back MotoGP champion. But it looks at this stage, that he'll be removing that #1 plate from his bike. And he'll be heading to this man.
The 63 will probably
Still
come
a long
back
way to
then.
go, but Jorge Martin metronomically ticking off the laps and keeping his cool.
Yeah, as is Bagnaia. It's not a super fast pace, but Bagnaia has been consistent. The mid-1 minute 40s the whole race.
There we are. Now he's being told.
Yeah, getting the information.
I'm told
I'd like to see his pit board
half
if they're just
second
giving him
to
any other
or
information.
so to Marc Marquez. They're on lap
Some riders
17
love a
now.
bit of information. Some
Wait,
riders don't
no,
want to know
15.
what their main rivals do.
10 to go at the
I
moment.
reckon Bagnaia loves to know. I reckon Jorge Martin doesn't. Remember the moment he had in Misano where he was distracted, he said, with the
9 to go.
of the track limits, that kind of thing, and it just rattled him a little bit.
Yeah.
It feels like that's the way round it would be. Bagnaia is the only rider now in the 1 minute 40 bracket. He is holding up his part of the bargain.
Yeah, there's still 9 laps to go, and there's only one rider, like you say, in the 1 minute 40 brackets. If you look at further down, there's quite a few dipping into the 42s. It's a funny old track, such a strange sensation, no side grip. So when you get into these long corners, and that's what Barcelona's all about, these long, look how long these corners go on for. It feels like an eternity. And do you know what it feels like? It feels like you're riding slow. Physically, it takes a lot less effort. It's not quite like riding in the wet. When you ride in the wet, it's probably like 20%, 80% less physically demanding. When you ride on a slippy track like this, it's like, I'm going to say, probably about 30% less demanding. It's quite easy, but then it's quite frustrating because you feel like you're not pushing. So then you try and push, and then the lap time goes slower because then you're forcing the bike into sliding, breaking traction, making mistakes. It's going to be a long race. It's going to come round, and he's going to see L8, 8 laps to go.
And you think, still?
You're like, no way.
Down the hill for Bagnaia through 13. Still Marc Marquez keeping him honest.
He is.
Gap closed again on this lap. It went out to 0.6. It's back to about 0.4.
I will also say I've been fortunate enough this year to be able to spend
8
time
to
with
go.
both
Lap
Francesco
17.
Bagnaia and Jorge Martin, and they're both an absolute credit to our sport. They spend time with us. There's obviously a lot of other TV companies that they have.
Bagnaia doing everything he has to do.
Certain things with them, but when
Problem is trying to overcome
spending time with them,
the disadvantage.
Behind the camera, not when the camera's on.
Is a high task where it's more on your opponent failing than anything else.
And not only with me, with the people that you work with, the cameraman, the soundman,
And his
the
opponent
producer,
is not failing.
It's been, yeah, they've both been a
Yep,
credit to our
0.4.
sport.
Right on board
sector.
with Marc Marquez, all right, briefly. Down into turn 5. Normally when things get a little bit slippery and sliding, a bit sketchy out there towards the end and the tyres start to go off, that's where Marc Marquez comes into his own.
That's what he says, that's what he always says, isn't it? And he actually he's said that before. He said there's been
And
some
the
races
final
that
third
got
of
to
the
wait
race.
about this point, when you get to within 10 laps to go,
3.
then he can make
4,
a
8,
difference.
6.
And that's one of the big arguments we saw Casey Stoner this week. Quite adamant, saying too much traction control, you need to ban everything, which I think a lot of people feel like that. We do as well. But
Hi, Goofy Odd Gamer.
It's funny that you see Pedro, then he had to sort of sit up to have a look, just to see where Bassanini was. Yeah, you take away some of the rider aids, and then the rider with the more skill can make a difference. I've got to say, I'm more in that direction. But
7 to go.
also,
Lap 18.
you've got to progress. You're trying to make these bikes safer, certainly for the roads as well. So there's a lot going on.
There is, and the other thing is the cream still rises to the top. In my opinion, the best riders are still at the front of this race.
Absolutely.
Brad Binder now comes from Pedro
Big
Acosta.
battle this is the battle for best of the rest, as you call it, and it's true. There's only 2 points between them in the championship. Acosta and Brad Binder, they will be sharing a garage next year, so this is such an important race for these two.
Yeah, if Binder can get another spot ahead.
Imagine that we have Brad Binder driving for the factory KTM team, and Pedro Acosta driving for the customer KTM team. Acosta's going to the factory team, and is currently above Binder, who drives for the factory team. Be an embarrassment to get beaten by a rookie.
I'm always fascinated when we ride behind Brad Binder in the different lines he takes.
Yeah, they take complete opposite lines, yeah. Binder's the king of the late apex. He likes to slide the bike in, uses the rear brake. He likes that, he controls it. And Pedro's the king of the early apex. Turns in really early on the brakes. He's just more comfortable that way.
Probably got about 10 minutes to go in this race.
Morbidelli on Acosta. This helps Binder, actually.
Yeah. Do you know, also, when you watch Pedro, it looks like he always has his bike set softer. It's been like that from the very first round. More transfer, more pitching. And that's why when you're on board, you can feel the
tied right now.
Quite a lot.
As Acosta has had more podiums or second place finishes, so he's listed as ahead.
How he gets a feeling from the bike. They'll try and get a good run out here because he's seen 5th place in the
6 to go.
Just edge away.
And now they can see level on points, but by virtue of his podium finishes this year, Pedro Acosta's had 4 sprint podiums and 5 main race podiums. Alex Rins now has a long lap penalty after a shortcut and not dropping enough time. Alex Marquez has plugged away, you know, over the
long
last
lap
few laps.
penalty
He's
for
got
Alex
onto the
Rins.
back now of
I think I
Aleix
saw.
Espargaro. He
Don't know
sniffs the
why.
podium here.
Just saw it flicker.
Yeah, a nice way to finish as well.
Question mark now is, first he's got to get through an Aleix Espargaro, who is like he's driving around.
Track limits warning for the number 31, Pedro Acosta.
Making himself very wide to try and protect Jorge Martin in his final ride, of course, as a full-time Grand Prix rider. Becomes Honda HRC's test rider from next year. We'll have some wildcard appearances.
So when was the last time a rider won 11 races in a championship
And
and
lost.
didn't win it.
Only 2 have ever won 11 or more
Yeah, so the answer is never.
in a MotoGP season.
Yeah, the answer is never.
Also, the reason why the sprint format is a bad idea, because it doesn't count as a race win. It's gonna deflate more. I mean, who knows what the strategy would have been, but it artificially inflates Bagnaya's season and deflates Martin's season by the stats alone,
5 laps
but
remaining
not the points.
in this Solidarity Grand Prix of Barcelona.
5 to go. We're on the 20th lap.
The FUV costs that come out of this race will go to the Valencia Relief Fund. We hope we can be back there for our season finale next year, but you have to give credit to everyone here at Barcelona Catalunya circuit for getting this race even going.
Yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible to sort the whole infrastructure out. It's just been incredible.
It's like someone at Dorna who said, yeah, the problem with that is they now know we can organise a race in a couple of weeks. But this is so close to Dorna's HQ. Can we see through the visor of Jorge Martin? His eyes will be on stalks, matchsticks holding his eyelids open, and we're having to remember to blink. Every little noise and wobble and sound from his motorcycle will feel double at the moment.
It certainly will. Like I said, but it's the dream race where he's ended up on his own.
Alex Marquez trying to go through on the inside of Aleix Espargaro at turn 10.
Can't get it done.
Aleix holding firm. He's done his mate a solid here today. First with Bastianini in the early stages, and now with Alex Marquez. As things stand, in the battle between Marc Marquez and Enea Bastianini for third in the championship, Marc Marquez has got it, even with second place.
4 to go.
He's surely going to get past him here now on the run down towards the first corner. Aleix knows that he's under pressure here. And Marquez
Espargaro holds
really
on
close
to
the
4th.
inside. He's trying to force Aleix into a mistake.
Yeah, he is. Aleix was deep there. That would cost them both time through that flip-flop. And then you can't pass around here because it's such a long corner. All you can do is hope you can get a bit of a slingshot into 4, but then that's always tight.
Sorry, Neil, lap times are mid-141s for Bagnaia, 42 for Aleix Espargaro on that last lap. You know, when race lap record from earlier this year was a 139.6, and that's on a greasy, slippery, low-grip track.
Yeah, Aleix is doing 42s. Was that roundabout pole position for the Moto2 boys? I think they were down into the...
Yeah, well, Dan Alonso did a 145.
On the Moto3 bike.
Right, Alex Marquez trying to send it to the inside. Aleix Espargaro holding him off still.
Over that crest of turn 9. If you'd have tried to stick a front wheel up the inside, I mean, he's doing such a good job here. He's holding.
This is backing people up.
This is what backing people up actually looks like.
Alex Marquez trying
Marquez
to
still looking but can't complete the pass.
In his final ride for Brilliant. Look at that, he just rides about half a metre away from the curb. No way for Alex Marquez to put a motorcycle through.
Alex is not normally a patient rider. No. I'm surprised he's not pulled a proper move on him by now. He's a bit too
3 laps to go.
He'd be better off trying to get a bit more of a run.
As he got it on this occasion, he pulls right. He's like the Moto3 runners down along the line. Jorge Martin sideways as he drops it in front of him down into turn 1 and then into 2. At that stage of the race, aren't we? For Martin, he has to keep the pace going now with just under 3 laps remaining. Don't relax, don't drop off. Look how wide Aleix is there, but again, it's that middle line.
Yeah, no room past at turn 3. He must be getting a little bit angry now, Alex Marquez, because Aleix, that last lap was another one in the 42s. I mean, he's a full second a lap slower than Bagnaia right now.
Through turn 5, and still no way through for Alex Marquez, and you feel like his shot at the podium, unless something happens in front, is done.
Yeah, that last lap from Bagnaia was so impressive, a 41.2 at this point in the race. He's basically 0.3, 0.4 of a second faster than everybody.
Well, Marc Marquez here in second. The debates will rumble on, won't they? If it finishes like this, about whether Ducati have made the right decision about their battery rider for the future? I mean, you'd think Jorge Martin winning the championship should answer that question, but I think we'll know the answer maybe in 3 years' time. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the only way you can answer that is we see what happens in the future. But if you look just from today, you'd have to say it's a mistake. You know, just going off today, because anything can happen in the future, but this man is going to win the World Championship in an independent team.
Shouldn't be winning it.
Aleix cannot go any more defensive.
Look at the nerves down there. Tell you what, Uncle, his dad looks pretty cool.
2 to go.
The rest of the family.
Is that his girlfriend? She's aged. I mean, there's some stress in the garage. That's incredible. I can't believe that.
Alex Marquez did get through.
Marquez trying to get on the outside.
Sideways into
Espargaro still holding on to fourth. Contact there.
On the wrong side now. You don't want to be on that side of him.
So, Aleix Espargaro still hangs on to fourth place. He'll be enjoying this actually now. There's no way that Alex Marquez would catch Martin if there was an incident. Just a lap and a half remaining for Martin. I'll still remind you, the story isn't written until that last page is done. But is it going to be a fairy tale finish for Jorge Martin? As he comes into the stadium section, Alex Marquez looks to have got through Aleix Espargaro finally, but it's too little too late to challenge Martin.
Alex Marquez fourth.
Past the hordes of Spanish fans. He should be there in a couple of laps' time.
Is that a bit of smoke coming from his bike?
Here we go. Bagnaia comes up. White flag is out. Last lap of the season.
In the 2024 championship, just shy of 3 miles of the circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia.
Martin on his own in third place.
His life's dream.
Just needs a safe lap. That's all he needs. One safe lap.
For this moment, this is what you dream of. Already a world champion.
This grandstand full of 89 fans.
But this is the one they all want. Any motorcyclist in the world wants to be the MotoGP world champion.
Yeah, just think of all the work, all the injuries. You think of every bead of sweat that's dropped off his chin whilst he's in the gym.
Last year he was trailing heading into Valencia, wrecked early, ending the championship fight prematurely.
And he's had loads of injuries throughout his career. He's been a rider
this year he leads entering the race. His opponent has done everything he could.
And it's been the mental side.
And yet in just half a lap, the #1 Ducati will come up short.
Championship is that mental strength. He's worked on himself. He's been open.
Final sector for the leader.
Got to say, totally respected, but it's just incredible. Consistency wins you a world championship, not Grand Prix wins.
A little look around from Jorge Martin, just 2 more corners to negotiate. Ponsigneto can't breathe. The Pramac team can't breathe. The outgoing champ
Bagnaia comes to the final turn. He'll win his second race at Catalunya, the 29th of his career. But it's Jorge Martin, the 2024 MotoGP champion.
The Spaniard has survived the pressure that's been put on him, and he is
with a third place finish to win the championship by 10 points.
And it's rides like that that's won him the world championship. Using his head, maximum pressure, no mistakes. He's been incredible in qualifying, he's been incredible at starts, he's been aggressive at all the right moments. Superb. What a rider.
Kept his cool.
Aleix Espargaro pulls over to congratulate Jorge Martin.
Title on the line today, and that has been the story of his season.
Of course, Espargaro retiring after full-time racing.
To consolidate and take the points when they're on offer.
Prima Premac
One race
is a
his
championship
one
team.
sprint race is Pecco Bagnaia, but it's been those second
Ducati
races.
will,
Today's
a Lenovo team will win the
the
team's championship. Michel Pirro is also pulled over to congratulate Jorge Martin. Assuming this is correct, so Bagnaia first, Marc Marquez second, Martin third, Alex Marquez fourth, Espargaro fifth, Bastianini sixth, Binder seventh, eighth goes to Morbidelli, ninth to Pedro Acosta, 10th to Bezzecchi, 11th to Quartararo, 12th to Oliveira, 13th to Miller, 14th to Zarco, 15th to Vinales. Jorge Martin, the first rider to win for a customer team.
Next year will be mine, and he has well and truly lived up to his promise, much to the, shall we say, gritted teeth happiness of Ducati's guru.
Absolutely. 10 years ago, he won the Red Bull Rookies, and it's been that journey ever since in Moto3. It took him 3 years to win the Moto3 World Championship. He had a couple of years in Moto2, not fantastic. There were times he looked fast, but he was never close to winning the world title. But it was really the step into MotoGP where he really stood out. That first year, he had a huge crash, if you remember, in Portugal. Multiple surgeries. He was out for 4 rounds, but came back and won a race in that rookie season. Then the year after was slightly disappointing, 9th in the world.
There's Bagnaia on his victory lap.
For the factory Ducati to
Oh wait,
sign him.
it is. I see that. Back of the helmet, Bagnaia has his old number, 63, which will definitely be his bike number next year.
The difference. Incredible what he's done. Runner-up last year, but he's made the difference. Worked on himself and come back a much better rider.
It's the first independent team rider to win the championship in the MotoGP era. Arguments could go on in the past about who was independent and who wasn't. A few years ago, though, we went over 10 years waiting for an independent team race winner, never mind a champion. How times have changed in MotoGP, and I have to say it's for the better of the show of what is the most exciting sport on earth. He becomes the
I wouldn't say that.
MotoGP world champion.
All right, anyway, that does it for today's stream. Only streams left for 2024, or whatever Formula 1 races I can do, as well as the Formula E opener at Sao Paulo in the first weekend of December. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. BowserJrXD signing off. Have a good one.